Section 1.5, and a construction is a geometric figure drawn using a straight edge and a compass. Again, the compass that you have serves as a straight edge and a compass at the same time. So our goal is going to be to construct congruent line segments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a different video here to show you how to do the construction. And then you're going to come back into your note packet and you are going to end up constructing a line segment that is congruent to AB.
Welcome to Constructions by Kircher. Its first construction will be to copy a line segment congruent to a given line segment. So here we've got line segment AB, and you can see that I've marked some clear endpoints that'll help me to line up my compass later. And I just labeled the endpoints AB. So we're going to copy this. Now we're not going to use the ruler and just measure it and redraw the line the same length. We're going to use the compass to make a copy of it. So first I'm going to start by drawing a line segment. And you can just make it a little bit longer than the original one. We'll mark this first endpoint, A prime. And then I'm going to move the compass onto point A. And then move the slider so that you see point B in one of the two openings on the compass. Move the compass down onto A prime. And then using that same opening on the slider, spin a little arc. And then where that arc intersects the new line segment is where we're going to make B prime. And now, line segment AB is congruent to line segment A prime, B prime.
Okay, so now take a second and pause the video, construct a line segment that is congruent to AB. Constructing a line segment that's congruent and copying a line segment are the same exact thing. If you're copying a line segment, it's obviously going to be congruent. So constructing congruent segments and copying segments, same exact thing. So construct a line segment that is congruent to AB. Again, once you do that, you can come down to the bottom here. And again, for part B, you're going to copy EF, copy MN, and copy PQ. And again, pause this video, go ahead and get those done, and then we'll move on. Okay, so constructing congruent angles. So constructing congruent angles, again, is going to be the same thing as copying an angle. So again, I'm going to go and I'm going to import a video now on how to copy an angle or how to construct congruent angles.
This construction will show you how to copy an angle congruent to a given angle. So we've got an angle here, ABC. So for starters, I'm going to draw the base of the new angle. And the only thing I know for sure is that this is going to be B prime. So now I got to figure out how far to make this opening here so that I get the same angle. You're not going to use your protractor. You're going to use your compass. So I'm going to put my compass on the original point B. And I'm going to spin an arc that goes through the two sides of the angle. Don't change your slider. Move your compass over onto B prime and do the same motion. Just remind to yourself that you're copying. So whatever you do on here, you'll do the same thing over here. Now I need to measure this distance here from this side of the angle to this side of the angle where that arc is. So I'm going to put my compass on this new intersection point right here and move my slider until I see this intersection point in that little slider opening. Once I've got that pretty well lined up, I'm going to move my compass over onto this intersection point here and make an arc. Where the two arcs intersect is this point right here. So now I'm just going to move and draw a line segment that goes from point B prime through that point where those two arcs intersect. Now I've got two congruent angles.
Okay, so again, now you can take a second, pause the video, and construct a angle that is congruent to angle ABC, and then move down and construct a angle that is congruent to XYZ. And then for number 3, your goal is going to be to construct a triangle that's congruent to the given triangle. And really what's going to happen here is you're going to end up having to copy an angle 2 times. So I'll kind of try to walk you through that. And again, tomorrow in class, if we need to, we can kind of revisit this. But in order to do this one, just like you would do part A and part B, the first thing I would do is helps if I have my pen on, I would copy an angle. Okay, so you'll follow the method that you did up on the top to copy that angle. Again, you draw the ray first, then you're going to draw an arc there, the arc there. You measure from here to here. Let's say that ends up there. And then we connect those 2 points. That's off by a lot, but connect those 2 points. And now you have angle Q is now over here for Q prime. So then what you're going to do now is you're going to copy angle P, but you're going to use this ray that you started already as that given side. So again, you'll come up over to here, you'll draw your arc there, draw an arc there, then measure the distance from here to here. And again, come and make that other little arc over there, and then connect those 2. Oh, that is so bad. Connect those 2 through there, and you'll see that you'll get a congruent triangle, if you can even call that a triangle at this point. Again, we could do that tomorrow in class if we need to. Okay. And our last one, we're going to do a perpendicular bisector now. Again, the video is going to explain what a bisector is, but don't forget a bisector is going to cut that segment into 2 congruent segments, and it's also going to be perpendicular, so it's going to end up forming 2 right angles. And again, here we go with that video.
What we're going to do is we're going to create a perpendicular bisector, and I just want to start off by really talking about like what a bisector is. So a bisector is a line that cuts another line in half, create 90-degree angles, and when it cuts it in half, it means that these 2 parts, once it's cut in half, are going to be congruent or the same length. So what we do for a perpendicular bisector, it's going to look something like this. I'm going to erase it in a second, but eventually your line's going to look something like that. Why? Because those 2 sides are congruent. So let me erase this really quickly and do the actual construction. So what we do is we start off, we just want to cut it in half. We don't want to make another line, so we don't need to create anything on the outside. Start off by putting your window on the point, and you want to open up your slider so it's more than halfway. So remember that we want it to be cut in half. So when you are making your arcs at the top and bottom, it legitimately needs to be at the top and bottom and make it go across. If you don't make it go across enough, it's not going to cross when you move it to the other side. So we started at point X. I used X and Y because it's not always going to be A and B. So use whatever letters you're comfortable with. And what you do is you just take this and move it to the other side. Don't change the slider, nothing. Just move it to the other side. And what you're going to do is you're going to do it again. Make a cross at the top and one at the bottom. And then when you create your 2 points right here and you connect your line, then you should notice that this segment and this segment are congruent, which means they're the same. And this right here, we call this our midpoint because it's in the middle. And now you've made a perpendicular bisector, and you should notice that you now have 2 right angles.
Okay, so again, take a second, pause the video, and construct your perpendicular bisector for line segment AB, line segment CD, AB, and AB again. And then moving on to our last one, we want to construct the angle bisector. So again, it's going to do the same thing that the bisector of a line segment did. Again, bisecting a line segment, cut it into 2 congruent segments. So when you bisect your angle, it's going to cut that angle into 2 congruent angles. So again, I'll bring that video in.
All right, so angle bisector. Angle, measurement between these 2 rays. Bisector, bi means 2. Sector, we are going to be cutting this angle into 2 parts that are equal, cutting it in half. So similar to what we did with copying an angle, what we want to do is we just want to put our window on one of the endpoints, well, specifically the vertex. And this one, I mean, you can keep it to the same. You can keep it about half, a little more than halfway. You can keep it a little closer, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna make it a little more than halfway, just so it's consistent. And we create an arc. So this one's pretty fast. All you want to do is you want to somehow create a line that goes through the middle. So what you do, don't change this. You just move your window up there and create an arc in the middle. What do you think you're going to do now? Move your window down there and you create another arc in the middle. Biggest thing is like just make sure your arcs cross. If your arcs aren't crossing, it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong per se. Maybe you just need to extend it. And now we're going to connect this. And this is going to create our bisector. And now you should notice if I had a protractor, I could measure these and they'd be the same amount of degrees. I'm just going to label this D. We're not going to label it A prime, B prime, or C prime because it's not a copy, it's different. So now this forms angle DBA and this forms angle CBD, two separate ones, and this is your bisector.
Okay, so again, pause the video and construct your angle bisectors for angle ABC. In part B, you're going to bisect angle MNO. In part C, you're going to bisect PQR. And how about in part D, you don't have to bisect every single angle here. Usually when they give you a triangle, they're going to ask you to just bisect one angle. So let's bisect angle B there. So when you're bisecting the angle in this triangle, literally you're just going to ignore that side AC and just concentrate on the angle B itself and just bisect that angle like you did above.